Sometimes they can dismiss it like, oh, she's just pregnant. Yes, it's because I'm pregnant, but at the same time, I need you to listen to me. You might not quite understand everything, but your partner just needs you to hear them. Sometimes they just need you to listen.
Hello, everybody. This is Sex Positivity Unfiltered, where we talk about sex and we are not polite about it. My name is Lyndsey Murray.
And I'm Denise Stratton.
And today we have a very special guest with us, Kat Pineda, who is a new mom and also a friend of ours. So we're very excited, Kat, to have you on. And our topic for today is really how childbirth and pregnancy and being a new mom, being a new parent, how that impacts your sex life. So yeah, I can't wait to get into this with you because how old is your daughter now?
She just turned 4 months.
Okay, yeah, so still new.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Do you mind telling us what your childbirth experience was like?
Yes, it definitely wasn't what I was planning. She did come at 30 weeks. I had preeclampsia. My heart rate was going way too high, and I was on the verge of having seizures. And so they had given me medicine to lower that, and then my body started rejecting it, and my organs started shutting down. So they had to take her via emergency C-section, which I did not plan for, and I did not research.
Mm-hmm.
Do your research on both things. Yeah, they did an emergency C-section and took her early. So that was a little traumatic for me and my partner. We definitely did not plan on her coming so early, so we weren't prepared.
Yeah.
But yeah, ended up being in the hospital for a few days, and then she was in the NICU for 2 months afterwards.
Okay. It all sounds very traumatic and scary.
Oh, yes, very much so. Especially when your body, you think your body's, supposed to do this thing, and kind of your body's like, no, get the baby out. And, you're not prepared for it. And you go to the emergency room thinking, oh, they're just going to give me medicine and send me home. And you end up getting cut open and baby taken out.
Yeah.
Really wasn't what you were expecting.
Yeah, not at all. And then even not being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you missed 10 weeks of time that you thought you would have to prepare.
Oh, yeah. Because we were supposed to take our classes. We hadn't even been able to tour the hospital yet. We were supposed to do that the next month. And we also didn't get our baby shower. Our baby shower was supposed to be the week after. And none of that happened.
I remember that. I remember when all that was happening, we were not going to be able to go, but we were getting ready to send you guys a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And then the invite, all the plans changed. And I remember what was going on. I was like, I hope she's okay. I don't know what's happening. And now I know that's what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. The cancellation had to be sent out very quickly to everybody because everyone was prepared to come that weekend. So the baby was there. But one person, we forgot to send the cancellation to them and actually showed it to my grandma's house for the baby shower.
The baby's here.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, especially not being prepared at home, it was kind of I won't say a blessing, but it was a good thing that she was in the NICU because we weren't ready for her to be at the house yet.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to be there for 2 months, we were able to prepare more at the house.
Okay.
Silver linings.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are 2 questions I have on that backstory. A, for our listeners, what's preeclampsia?
It's basically high blood pressure during pregnancy.
Okay. And 2, you said you had classes set up. Was that through the hospital?
Yes. So with Medical City of Arlington, you can take labor and delivery classes. You can take classes to help you prepare on how to clean your baby and wash your baby and, kind of be more prepared to have a newborn, especially if you're a first-time parent, which is good. And then also for a tour of the hospital, Medical City of Arlington has it separate from the main hospital where it's a women's center kind of. So labor, delivery, NICU, everything is in that one section of the hospital. And you're supposed to do a tour before then. So you know kind of where to go, what your room's going to look like, kind of what to expect. And we didn't get any of that. And the first time I saw the emergency room was that day.
Got you.
Okay.
When you found out you had preeclampsia, did you have any symptoms that told you something was wrong before going to get checked?
Kind of. I had high blood pressure before I had gotten pregnant, but during pregnancy, it was just more strain on my heart.
Okay.
And what happened is that morning, I actually had a doctor appointment with my OBGYN, and I was just really nauseous that day, and I was throwing up, and I just felt off.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in and they were like, oh, you do have your blood pressure a little high today, but, just go home, take some medicine and try and relax. And I did. And I went home and I just kept getting very dizzy and stuff. And so my aunt's a nurse, and she had called me to check on me, and I have a blood pressure machine at home, and it was still high. She's like, you need to go to the emergency room. And I called my doctor and like, yeah, let's go to the emergency room. And that's kind of how it ended up happening, me going in. Because if not, I probably would have stayed home and tried to like take care of it myself. And that would not have been good.
Yeah, I'm glad that you didn't. Because, I mean, preeclampsia can be really like fatal.
Yeah, it can turn into HELP, which you start having seizures and things like that. And with HELP, it's kind of like they're preparing for your heart to almost stop. So they make sure that you're okay when you get there, and they make sure, like for me, my bed was padded. Just in case I did start having seizures, because I started seeing spots and things. So like my body was on the verge of having seizures because my blood pressure was so high.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yes.
Man. Let's take it back a little bit. Let's take it back as far as the history. Actually, Kat, why don't you just tell the listeners who you are?
I was born in Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh, that's me.
Yes. I'm not an alien, I swear. I do have a partner. His name is Ryan. Been together for about 3 years. We've known each other since we were like 13.
Plan this pregnancy at all?
Yes. So I'm 35, and as you know, when you get older in life, that it's sometimes a little more difficult. And I've always wanted to be a parent, and so has he. So when we got together, and we knew that this was a long-term relationship, that we were going to stay together, that we started talking about future plans, and we did want to start having children. And I had to, of course, take my IUD out and things like that. And so we did plan on it, and we didn't expect to get pregnant so fast, but within about 3 or 4 months, I ended up getting pregnant. Audrey, our daughter. We would like to have another one, but also with being 35, they consider your pregnancy a geriatric pregnancy.
No, don't say those words.
Yes, they do. Which is like I feel like that's such an outdated term, but that's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I went in for a doctor appointment, my doctor was like, don't worry, you're not my oldest, you're not my oldest patient. I have a patient who's 40 and pregnant right now. I was like, it's not helpful. You're still calling me old.
Oh, that sucks. That's what.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as you hit 35, they're like, oh, you're geriatric. You're old. I'm like, I don't like that.
They do consider it like high risk when you're above 35, which is weird because not necessarily, I would assume like you're not necessarily high risk just because you're 35, but that's how they view it.
Yeah. Especially with having a baby with all the nutrients and stuff that the baby takes from you. That's where they consider it more risky. Because, your calcium and everything goes to the baby. And a lot of people have sometimes, issues with that. Thank goodness I didn't have too many issues. I had a couple, just a couple. But definitely considered geriatric pregnancy. So
that's good to know.
Yeah.
My wife has already been scoping out my eggs. And since the time is ticking, she's getting paranoid about how old I'm getting. So
you really have plenty of time. I mean, 35 is always like the number, but I mean, women are in their 40s. Some happy kids.
And a lot of people are waiting longer to have children because whenever people have children at a younger age, you're not financially stable.
It's like in this economy.
Oh, yeah.
Or who's having kids? Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of people are waiting longer in life to have even marriages now. They're holding off on doing the whole entire family thing until they're more stable in life, because having a kid very young is a lot more difficult.
Yeah. And I see the juxtaposition between people who had kids 18, 19, right? Some of them in high school, right? Obviously, that seems fun because you do have a little bit of more energy, I guess. But at the same time, you're still kind of going through your 20s and you still want to be a crazy adult. You see that, whereas the people that I've seen who waited a little bit longer and have had their kids in their upper 20s, lower 30s, it seems like they've already gone through all that crap, right? So now it's like, no, I want family only. Like now it's all about family, and it's all about me settling down and just being here and not working as much.
Yeah. I feel like you also have you're more calm. Yeah. So I feel like I have more patience now than if I would have had her when I was like 19, 20.
Oh, totally.
I don't think I would have had as much patience because babies cry a lot and they require a lot from you. And, when you're in your 1920s, sometimes I feel like you're not ready to give up all that. Then whenever you're older and you like you said, you're ready for a family and you want that, and you're ready to give up your time out and your time with people to have that.
Yeah.
Did you have a young mom?
Yes. My mom had me when she was 22, but I'm the youngest. So she had my sister when she was about 17 and my brother at 18.
Yeah, that's about my mom too. And don't get me wrong, I love my mom. She did really good with us. She really did. Thank you, Mama. I love you so much. But at the same time, the patience there was very,
Yeah.
she would be the first to tell you, patience. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're kind of growing up with your kids still. So, you're still trying to, especially at 20, I think you're still trying to figure out yourself and you're still trying to figure out who you want to be. And throwing a kid in there too is kind of a little more difficult, I think.
Yeah. All right, so you get pregnant. More backstory. How'd you tell him, or how'd you find out?
So I have Crohn's disease. So I was having a lot of pain and cramping, and I just associated it with my Crohn's disease. And I usually end up having to go to the hospital because I can't eat and things. So I ended up going to 2 emergency rooms. The first one, they were like, okay, it's your Crohn's, we're going to give you pain medicine and send you home. The pain just got so bad. At one point, I was on the floor just crying because I was in so much pain. And Ryan took me to another emergency room and they're like, well, we can't give you anything. I was like, well, why not? This other hospital did. And they're like, well, you're pregnant. And I was like, what?
You're like, excuse me?
Yeah. And Ryan had actually dropped me off and he went to work to go do something. He was going to come back. So he wasn't with me. I was by myself when I found I was pregnant. No. And I freaked out. I started crying. The doctor's like, it's okay. Calm down. You're fine. I was like, no, I'm not. And I ended up calling like 5 people and no one answered the phone.
Oh, of course. That's how it always goes, right?
Yeah. So I'm like over in the emergency room just bawling my eyes out because I found out I'm pregnant and I'm in pain and I can't have anything. So I'm like, ah! Ryan comes back and picks me up. He's like, so what happened? What's wrong? He's like, you want to hear something funny? My boss is like joking that you're pregnant. I was like, here's the paperwork.
Oh my gosh, what?
Positive pregnancy test. Where I was like, he had to pull the car over. He was like, what? And he started tearing up a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of how we found out.
That's a cute story. It's a great way to, not great because you were in pain, but like that is a hell of a story to find out.
Oh yeah. So she definitely came as a shock at the first instance and then came as another shock at the end.
I am curious because I know like big part of this episode is talking about like how it's affected your sex life and your libido. And so tell us about your libido like pre-pregnancy and then how pregnancy impacted that. Because I would assume pregnancy, I'm assuming here, maybe I'm wrong, but
usually it has some kind of impact. Oh my goodness. So pre-pregnancy, I would say I had a pretty high libido.
Scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 10, probably a 6, 7. Okay. Yeah. So not like super high. I wasn't trying to like attack him every day, but it was pretty high. I mean, we had sex multiple times a week. At the beginning of the pregnancy, that's when your hormones are starting to ramp up. So you feel nauseous, you feel sick, you have low energy. So at the beginning, it was a little lower. And then second trimester hits and your libido goes up. Like it's a little crazy. And you start feeling yourself a little bit. You're like, oh, I feel pregnant. I got the glow, and stuff like that. You start feeling better. Your energy is higher in second trimester. So I would say second trimester, my libido went up again, probably the 7, 8. And then third trimester, you get kind of the same symptoms you had first trimester. So you get kind of sick again, you get nauseous and things like that. So your libido drops again in third trimester. So by third trimester, I was like, I want to be done.
Yeah.
Because it's out of me. And I didn't even make it all the 42 weeks. So it was like, it was kind of at the beginning of my third trimester, mid part when she ended up being taken. But yeah, my libido was kind of going back down then. And then after she came out, where your hormones kind of start to level out about a month or so after them, then my libido's gone back up.
Okay. How I was just going to ask, how did that impact you and Ryan? Like, was it ever, I don't want to say tense, can't think of a better word, but like, did y'all just have to talk about it?
Yes,
okay.
Definitely. Because when your partner is used to you, I don't want to say like wanting them more, it's not that I didn't want him, it's just I didn't have the energy. I felt sick all the time. And with your body changing, you do have to get used to that because, things change, things get bigger. You also get, it's called pregnancy brain too, where like you forget things and you just kind of feel foggy a lot of the time. And so, you don't feel like having sex constantly. And so, yes, we did have to talk about it. And yes, sometimes he did feel a little neglected. And, I did try and push sometimes to be more sexual and things like that with him, but we did have to speak about it. And we do have a relationship we do talk about a lot of things. So if anything's bothering us, we're pretty good at bringing it up and talking to each other about it. And not a negative way, but in a, hey, this is bothering me. Can we discuss this? Can we talk this through? So we did have to do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's good that y'all talked about it, though. I mean, that's really what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
Especially with such a big change.
He had gotten this book that also kind of explains to him like what's going on with me. So that really helped too, because it helped to kind of explain it to him like, hey, she's going through these kind of changes. Do this for her, do that for her to help her out. And that will help her wanting to have sex more often because she's not feeling so overwhelmed. She's not feeling so tired. And so that helped him understand more of what I'm going through, which helped him to help me.
Hey, go ahead and shout out the name of the book.
It's First Time Parents. Definitely recommend that one.
Good for him for reading that. I mean, he was trying to understand what's going on with you.
Oh, yeah.
And that probably made it easier on him to just accept that things are a little different. Right?
Yeah. Especially because with your partner, whether it's, a man or female, that's on the other side of your partner being pregnant, they have the whole feeling. They can feel the baby move. They can feel their body growing and stuff, but you're seeing it on the outside. So sometimes the other partner feels a little like they don't have that much of a connection with the baby and things like that when the other partner is growing it. So I think with the book and things like that and him feeling more like, okay, now that I know what's going on with her, I can kind of connect a little bit more. And so I think that helped him to be more connected with the pregnancy than just kind of watching me go through it. And because, I mean, the kicks and things you don't feel till later on when, you really think about it. Like I could feel fluttering and stuff like that, but he couldn't feel anything until she was a lot bigger.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he was just saying changes in you versus anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as like the physical aspect of your sex life and everything, I assume that beforehand you'll had, I don't want to say a routine, but most couples know kind of what comfortable positions they're used to. And, sex is very much, I've learned this about you and know this is what you like. How did that have to change with your body changing? Like, was there any positions that worked really well and then certain positions that didn't?
Yes. So with me, at the beginning, the first and second trimester, we had to be very careful because I would bleed a lot during sex. Okay. Not that I was having a miscarriage or anything, but with your body, the uterus, getting the blood supply and everything and kind of fluffing up for the baby, you do have more of a tendency to bleed whenever y'all have sex.
Interesting.
So that's one thing that we kind of had to kind of freaked us out the first time because it's not what did I do. Yeah. So we definitely had to be like go slower and things like that. It also, you're not as moist, I guess I want to say. Okay. So we had to, learn to use lubricants and things like that.
So there's like some dryness that happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when the bigger you get, the less energy you're going to have. So, there's be not frisky. I even had to ask my OBGYN because it started to hurt during pregnancy, having sex. So I had to ask her, what ways can we make it more comfortable? Because for pregnancy, having sex is actually healthy. Mm-hmm. It's healthy for the baby. It's healthy for you to have sex. So
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So they actually, promote it, like have sex while you're pregnant. Don't be scared not to. Just don't be too, rambunctious, but, sex during pregnancy is very healthy. For me, it was painful. And so we had to find different ways to have the intimacy and sex where I didn't feel like I was in pain during it. So like more, shower time or more times where you had to go slow and it had to be more sensual than, going at it.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yes.
Got you. Okay. So those were the positions that worked for you. And you were saying that, like, obviously certain on knees things didn't work. I mean, did everything else? So this is mostly talking about penetration. Yeah. That everything else was pretty normal.
I mean, your breasts and things also change and get bigger. And I'm not sure how it is for people who have smaller breasts because I have pretty large ones before I was pregnant, but mine definitely got bigger during pregnancy. And they got a little more tender. Yeah, because, your body's getting ready to produce milk for the baby. So sometimes, touching them wouldn't be that comfortable for me. So sometimes I would be like, do this instead, or, don't aggressively grab. So that had to change too.
Okay. But really, you're just talking about it, right? Like you're just letting them know, because I feel like every day could be different too.
Yeah.
Right? Like one day you feel a certain way, the other one, maybe it's okay to touch here, and you just don't really know.
Especially with the first time pregnancy, you don't know how your body's going to be being pregnant and how different your body feels. Like, a gentle grace on your leg, can send your hormones all crazy. And other ways you're like, just don't touch me. Go away. Your breathing is annoying me. So, it's just, it changes, like you said, daily.
Okay.
So bad. See, I'm taking this from the perspective of the other partner. So I would assume that affects him pretty a lot, because seeing, one day, you're all over me and you want, and then the next day, and just me being around you is sending you into like an anger, a
Rage. Yeah.
So what advice would you give your partner during pregnancy, as far as being able to support you or just be that?
If you feel like they're being too aggressive or anything, right at one point told me I was being mean. So you you just gotta kind of think about it in the back of your head. It's not forever. This is just during the pregnancy. Their hormones are going crazy. They don't even know what's really going on, and you kind of just gotta go with the flow. Because some days, like you said, she'll be really great, and another day she'll be crying for no reason, or like. Oh my gosh, everything would make me cry. He wouldn't say like goodbye to me when he'd leave, and I'd cry. I'm like, and he's like, I was just walking out the door. And other times you'll be like super mad about something and, just go off. And it's just like, you can't really control it because it's your hormones, and, it's your feelings are going up and down, and you feel confused and you don't know why you feel this way. But at the same time, you're like, don't know how to, you want to be calm and talk to them about it, but at the same time you're like, you don't know how to calmly talk because your hormones are going crazy, and you end up yelling or crying, or it's just, for the partner, I would say, just take a step back and think about it. And if it gets to be too much, talk to them about it. And like I said, he told me one time I was being too mean, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know how I feel anymore, and it's just keep that in mind, that their body's going through a lot right now, and they're trying to control it and handle it as much as they can, but you really have no control over it. It's just going to happen.
Is there anything that your partner did that you would like as good advice for other, like that really helped you, like that you were like, oh my God, I have the best man ever?
Oh gosh, yes. So like I said with that book, it sometimes gives them ideas like, hey, your partner's feet are going to be swollen this month. You might want to massage your feet or go take her shopping for new shoes, because your cartilage starts to kind of separate a little bit to get ready for the baby. So your muscle, especially your hip bones and stuff like that, they start to stretch. And so does your feet and your nose and other things. Like your cartilage starts to kind of get bigger, just to prepare. So, your feet get bigger. Well, mine didn't, but most people's feet get bigger, and so their shoes might not fit. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, go buy her some new shoes, give her foot massages, put her feet in some warm water, like make her a bath where she doesn't have to think about it. Don't wait till she's like, can you give me a bath? No, just do things before she has to ask. That I think really helps, because when you think about them, they don't have to think about extra things. So like he would draw me a bath and have snacks by the bath and water,
Okay.
And little iPad so I could watch my movies. But that was helpful especially because your muscles and your bones almost hurt. And so a bath for me was really nice. It helped me to relax at night and to feel more comfortable. Of course, you can't take a too hot bath, not over 100 degrees. Apparently that's not very safe. No jacuzzis, but that helped my body relax. And that was helpful for him to come home and be like, well, I just got home from work, but I know you've been uncomfortable. So let me do this for you. Or cooking dinner was nice too, because then I didn't have to stand up and cook dinner when I feel like crap. Just want to go lay down and go to sleep.
So him being proactive really like a huge help.
Yes, my guys, my queer thems, my people who are going to be the partners. It seems like, get your books, get your reading done, and baths. Baths seems like that's a good tip.
Even after pregnancy.
Yes.
Baths are always good.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's good advice. And then the other thing that I do want to ask during your pregnancy, what are a couple things that you wish you did know before going into it?
So I did ask a lot of people that I knew who had been pregnant, like family members, friends, what their experiences were during pregnancy. And that helped me to kind of mentally prepare of some things. But I didn't know, like at the beginning when the egg is trying to transplant to your uterus, that's where all my cramping was coming from at the beginning, is the egg was trying to attach. So I didn't know it would be that painful. I didn't know that during the pregnancy, all the, like, how much your body hurts. My hips hurt. I knew that, you'd be uncomfortable. You always hear you're uncomfortable, but it's not just uncomfortable. Your muscles and things are moving, and especially around your stomach and your groin area, your muscles are trying to stretch and things. So that was very painful. Heating pads were very helpful.
Okay.
I wish I would have done more research on both types of deliveries, because in your head, you usually have, your birth plan. This is what you want to do. This is how you want to do it. So in your head, you're like, okay, I'm prepared for this.
I do.
But if you don't look at the other side of it, like the C-section side and things like that, you don't know what to expect, which I didn't. I mean, I have family and friends who had C-sections. They're like, oh, well, this is what I went through. But at the same time, I didn't know exactly like what they would have to do to me afterwards.
And a scheduled one is different than an emergency one.
Very much
that's
so.
Like people who had a scheduled one have a very much different experience than, well, here you go, we're throwing you in.
Yes.
And yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. And your doctor usually talks you through, if you have a scheduled C-section, like, hey, you're going to have this kind of shot in your back. You're going to have these kind of feelings, and you can kind of talk through it when you don't know what's going to happen and you're kind of thrown into it, and I didn't know that afterwards that to get your uterus to kind of contract back down, that after a C-section, they actually massage your stomach. That is not a good massage. It does not feel great, because they have to really push down on you, and you just had surgery. 7 layers were cut into you.
It sounds like it hurts.
Oh, yeah. It's very painful. And
why they have to do that?
It's to help your uterus contract back down. So they massage it so that it doesn't stay contracted and that you're not cramping as much. So the nurses will come in and kind of massage your stomach.
Releasing the muscle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was very painful, because, I mean, you have 7 layers cut open to take out the baby, and then they put you back together. And you wear a big old belly band to help keep you in, so that, everything kind of goes back to where it's supposed to be. But, I mean, you have to still get up and walk around. And they want you to do that within, like, hours of having a C-section. It's not like, hey, just stay and lay down for a couple days. No, within hours, they're like, okay, let's get you up and go to the restroom, and let's get you walking around. You're like, what?
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting all that.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So really just looking into, like, you have your birth plan, but like preparing for if that goes out the window.
Yeah. And maybe even talk to your doctor about it. Like, hey, if it goes our way, this is what I want. But if anything happens and I have to have a C-section, what are the protocols for the hospital, or what are the protocols for you? Because my OBGYN wasn't there when I had to have my C-section. It was a doctor that was associated with him. But I mean, my doctor was there the night before, but whenever I had to go in for the C-section, he wasn't there. So I had a totally different doctor that I've never met before.
Oh, and that's scary too, yeah, because you kind of like build a relationship with your doctor, and it's like comforting if they're there.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, you're pregnant for 9 months, to me 7 months, but you see them once a month to every 2 weeks at the end to every week, even closer. And that's the person you're like, okay, you're going to be there. I know your face. I know how this is going to work. We talked through it, and then it happens and they're not there. And you're like, oh crap, I don't know you. I got all of them. Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. That's interesting. All right, so now I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about after pregnancy. So you've had the baby, and what I'm aware of is there's a certain amount of recovery time that is needed. So go into how much time is needed, and also how sex was the first time after childbirth.
So since I had a C-section, I had to wait 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
From what I'm told, it's 6 weeks if you have regular vaginal birth, but yes, 8 weeks because you have to internally heal.
Okay.
So no sex. But when my doctor released me to have sex, we were able to have it. And at first, it was a little scary. I'm not going to lie. I was afraid it was going to be painful because you're still recovering and you still have sensations from the C-section. Like I have numbness still and things like that on my C-section scar. So I didn't know how it would feel having sex again. And you're also getting used to how your body looks after birth too. So like, some people are very comfortable with how their body looks after birth. I was, you've gained weight, you have a giant scar now on your stomach or, stitches or whatever. I still had tape on. And so, you have to get used to, okay, this is how I look now. My partner's good with it, but I'm a little insecure, so let me go buy some sexy lingerie to make myself feel better. It definitely was an experience. We had to kind of take it slow. We had to find out that, after pregnancy, we had to use lubricant because if not, it hurt me too bad. Like it was very painful if we did not. So we had to go through that like at the beginning, like, oh, this does not feel so great. And you want to be with your partner, but at the same time, if you don't feel great and it hurts, it's not as comfortable for you than it is for your partner.
Yeah, whenever there's pain, I would imagine that's not something you want to just push through. Like that's not a good experience for you or for Ryan either.
Yeah,
knowing if you're in pain, he probably doesn't want that either.
Yeah, and at the same time, like he didn't want to hurt me, knowing that, she just had a baby and stuff like that. But at the same time, he wants to be intimate. You've waited 8 weeks to have sex with your partner and be that intimate you were before. And for it to hurt, he felt bad that he was possibly hurting me while we were trying to be intimate. So that made him even more scared to have sex at the time too, because he was like, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want it to be painful. I just want us to be together. So yeah, that was difficult.
Okay. Do you think you're still recovering now from the C-section? Like it's been 4 months, but
I would say I'm fully recovered, but since it's such a huge surgery, your nerves and stuff are still kind of like, I still have numbness. Sometimes I still have a little pain, and the scarring, with it, how they have to kind of tie it off and close you up. I have a pinched skin right there. So sometimes that kind of hurts a little bit, a little uncomfortable. I would say your body's still going through it, and supposedly you can have pain and other things with your C-section scars like years afterwards because your nerves and stuff, everything has to be kind of put back into place, but you still got cut open. So it's not going to go back exactly how it was before. So certain things will make you feel uncomfortable. And with the numbness, they say that can last up to a year. So I could be numb there for a year.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Was there any other, I guess, since giving birth, now resuming sexual activity, is there anything that's new other than just pain?
I breastfeed. So that can be a little tricky too sometimes because stimulation can make you leak or squirt milk out. And sometimes it can be, your nipples can be painful from breastfeeding, just from either latching on or like you can get, your baby can get thrush in their mouth and they can give it to you on your nipple, which is quite painful. So even your partner just barely touching it or whatever, it can be painful. But also, during sex, sometimes you might have to put a towel on or something. Because you might leak or things. And even in your sleep, you'll wake up and your shirt's like soaked or something. You're like, what the heck? So you have to get used to that too. Like, something might come out from up here.
A little squirt gun.
Yeah. And then also if you pump or anything like that and they told me it's every 2 to 4 hours you're supposed to pump. If not, your breast can get hard. and it can get painful. So,
And does that count like through the night as well?
Holy
yeah.
crap.
So you can't just like sleep a full 8 hours. Like you got to get up and pump.
Yes.
Ah.
Because if not, if you don't release it, you can get where your ducts get clogged. You can get what's called mastitis, which is an infection in your breasts.
Oh my God.
And even just not pumping as often, and that your breast will turn hard. Like mine, the first time I didn't pump for like more than 2 hours. I think I slept 4 hours, and I woke up and my breast was so hard and swollen, and it hurt so bad. And I was just like, oh my God, I had to go in the shower and just like massage it to release the milk because it hurt so bad. Yeah, so dealing with that too is not great. And yeah, you don't get sleep because, your partner, yes, can sleep through the night if they want to. I hope they don't because they need to help you. But I mean, they don't have to get up and
Right. And
pump and stuff like that, but you do. And it's like, well, they're like, well, you should sleep too, but you can't really because if not, it'll hurt.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that, that it was like that. It needs to be that often to.
Especially because at the beginning, you want your milk supply to get more and more. So they want you to pump at least 2 hours. You're supposed to pump 8 to 10 times a day at the beginning to get your milk supply in. And then once it's in, then you need to keep it up. Because if not, and you slow it down, it's supply and demand. Your body will produce milk as long as you're needing it. But if you stop pumping so often, your body will think, oh, you don't need that much milk. I'll stop supplying it so much, or I'll stop altogether.
Holy, okay. So you're pumps and leaks and milk supply. Yeah, I'm telling. This just it's bringing me back to work. It's sounding like a machine.
Yeah,
that's point.
Oh, and you look like one too, almost, because you're sitting there. I mean, some people have the hands-free bras or whatever, or you have a contraption attached to you. Okay. So like I have one that I can hold and it'll pump, or I have one that goes in my bra. But at the same time, you still hear me.
Loud, yeah. It's like a relaxing time.
Yeah. And it's a bright light at the middle of the night. So it's like, I'm neon lighted and or I'm holding pumps, or, you have pumps on your bras and you're like, you look like a little robot for a little bit because you have these big old pumps hooked onto your boobs producing milk. And it's like, yeah, you look super sexy now. So you gotta kind of make your own sexiness out of that.
Okay, so that actually brings me to a good question. So your body image seems to change a lot. You have a certain body image that you pretty much had all your life, right? Before pregnancy, and then seems like during pregnancy, you said it changes because you got a glow, right? You started getting
you get the glow, and then also you're getting stretch marks in other places. Your belly's getting bigger. You're gaining weight. You look different. You gain weight in your face, your body and stuff like that. And if you're a person who's been small most of your life, and then all of a sudden you gain this weight from pregnancy, in your head you're like, oh my gosh, I look so different. I don't look like me. My clothes aren't fitting. I feel like a beached whale, and when you're laying down in bed because you can't breathe. So yeah, you definitely have to keep in mind that your body's going to change. It's okay because you're growing a baby, and hopefully your partner is good with how you look, and if not, then that's their problem, not yours.
Yeah, for real. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it just kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah.
So you would say your body image pretty much plummeted a little bit, but did you have a high when it came to your body image during pregnancy?
Yeah, I would say during about when I started seeing my little bump, I'm like, look, I got a little bump, Now, whenever I was like a lot bigger, it was a little more hard because I was like, my pants don't fit. I had to get pant extenders for, my pregnant belly and stuff like that. And you're in maternity clothes. And maternity clothes, yes, sometimes they can look cute, but most of the time it's this big old band over your belly.
Yeah.
And then closer at the end, your belly feels so heavy that it's good to wear like a belly band to kind of like lift up the belly. So it's not like pulling you down.
Yeah.
And so you got to wear stuff under your clothes now to make you feel comfortable. So it's like there's a lot of work to get dressed sometimes in the morning with being pregnant.
Bet, yeah.
And then afterwards, you have to also think about, okay, now I'm nursing, so I have to have something, or have a different bra for nursing, or have to wear pads in my bra because I'll leak and it'll go over my shirt and stuff like that. So you have to like keep that in mind too, that yeah, your body changed during pregnancy, but now you have after pregnancy, and depending on how you want to do that, I have maternity shirt. I have shirts now that have like holes on the side where I can, breastfeed her if I need to, or pump anytime. And I have dresses now that have, nursing things in it. And you have to get like different bras that can, clasp and unclasp. And so, yeah, it's definitely you have a clasp on your bra now, and it's like, okay, I can just, whip it out anytime, but it's not for, show, it's for feeding a baby.
Yeah, okay. And then as far as like y'all being a couple, obviously you have a level of intimacy before pregnancy and childbirth, and the level of intimacy after, I would assume, is a little bit different. Because just the stereotype goes, new parents don't get sleep, right? Yeah, 2 hours, right? Is what y'all get 2-hour increments, and obviously with the pumping, it's definitely 2-hour increments. So you're tired, you're stressed. You have all these new things that you have to do and get used to. Was it difficult getting into that intimacy level mindset? Was it difficult getting into an intimacy?
Yes. Okay. Because with me, she was in the NICU for 2 months. So he would get off work, he'd come pick me up, we'd go to the NICU. For him, it was 8 hours at work, and then, we weren't getting home till 10, 11 o'clock at night. So then we would go to sleep and then start all over again, So for him, it was a very long day. For me, it was a lot of waiting around. I had family who would drop me off at the hospital, and in the NICU, sometimes you can't hold the baby because they're too little. And like, I couldn't hold her for weeks. Yeah. So I would go to the hospital, and you're just kind of watching. And so that was, and there's extra stressors on your baby being in the NICU because they're in the NICU for a reason. So, it's like, oh my gosh, she's going through all these health issues. And then with me in the C-section, I'm trying to heal from that. And then he's stressed going to work and then coming home. So at the beginning, I would say the intimacy was kind of put on the back burner because we had other things to think about. We're worried about our baby, we're stressed about this. I would say that was more of the tension we had. So we had a lot of tension. I would say we argued a lot more when she was in the NICU, and then it changes when they come home because now we have to try to get into a groove of her being home and us being parents at home. So, there's, okay, well, I'll get up at this time if you get up at this time, and, I'm tired, can you take her, and then he works during the day and I stay home with her. So, there's the mental stress of being at home, taking care of her constantly and constantly being the person who has to take care of the baby and provide and things like that. And at the same time, you're wanting to take care of the house and take care of this and take care of that. And then they're at work. And so when they come home, they're tired from work, but you're also tired from being at home, taking care of the baby. You don't just, sit around all day. No, you got to keep up, and take care of her. And you can't, they tell you to sleep when the baby sleeps, but that's ideal. But really in your head, you're like, no, I have to do laundry. I need to do the dishes. I need to wash her clothes. I need to wash our clothes. I need to vacuum, sweep. You have all these other things too, when it's hard to keep up with that at the same time of taking care of the baby and taking care of your mental health. Yeah. So yes, intimacy definitely goes on the back burner, and it's good to talk to your, significant other, like, hey, I'm stressed about this. I need your help with this. And that can sometimes make the intimacy a little bit more because you're changing your intimacy in different ways. Like, we might not be able to have sex, but we can cuddle at night, or, we can go on a date. His mom can watch her, someone can watch her, and, we can have those kind of intimacies instead of what we previously had before, like sitting down and eating dinner and cooking together, things like that. You can't really do that when you have a crying baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah, intimacy sometimes has to change when you have a kid, and it has to change in different ways. And you being verbal with your partner and talking it out and talking through it, like, hey, I'm feeling neglected or things like that, is also good too, because you might not know that. And telling them, hey, I need more attention from you. It's not a bad thing to ask for more attention because your attention changes.
Right, totally.
When you've just been living with that person and all your attention's on them or your animals or whatever, and now you have a baby and most of all your attention's on that. And so it's like, it's good to talk about different ways to be intimate with each other, even if it's just like a little date night. That's a way to be intimate too, not just in a sexual way.
Well, and I think those hard conversations are also intimate in their own way. Like when you can, if you have that kind of relationship where you can just be that honest with each other, like even even something you were saying earlier, like Ryan told you were being like too mean. Like those are not like fun conversations, but it's like its own form of intimacy where I can come and tell you what I'm actually feeling or how I feel about you in this moment. And like if you can talk through that, like that probably brings you closer because you can you can like shift and adjust from there.
Yeah. And having those conversations too makes you closer, I think, because you can't just have those hard conversations with anybody. It's going to be with somebody that you know, are with and that, you know, daily you're working on.
You trust them.
Yeah. And you have to trust that I'm telling you how I'm feeling. I need you to listen.
Yeah.
And I need you to take it in consideration. Like, you know, I'm telling you this, don't just kind of throw it to the burner because then you do that more often, just putting my feelings aside, it's going to cause me to resent you. And we don't want that when we're trying to build a family and build a relationship in any aspect.
So your advice would be pretty much just to do little things to kind of keep that intimacy alive, whether it's date night or cuddling or things like that. Whenever you were engaging in those activities, being a new mom, even when Audrey is, you know, being watched by grandma or whatever, did you find yourself having difficulty getting into that complete intimacy mindset that you did before? With okay.
Because you have them in the back of your head all the time. Like, is she okay? And you're always worrying about your kid. Like, no matter how safe they are or where they're at, you're always worrying. Like, even me being here, I know she's out with her dad. I'm like, oh, I need a pump. Do I have enough milk in the fridge for him to feed her and stuff like that? It's like, she's fine. There's a whole freezer full of milk. She will be fed. He's going to change her diaper. He's going to take care of her. And we actually had a date night a couple weeks ago where we actually left her with somebody for the first time ever. And you feel a little guilty about that sometimes because you're like, I just brought her home and now I'm leaving her with somebody. Oh my gosh. And you feel the mom guilt. And it's hard sometimes.
It's hard to put yourself first.
Yeah, very much so. Sorry.
No. And you're in a therapist's office.
Yeah, it's definitely hard sometimes to put yourself first. And you feel very guilty about it a lot of times because you did take all this time to prepare it and hold the baby and take care of her, and then now you're like, okay, they're here. Then you think you're selfish for thinking, oh my gosh, I need time for myself. It's almost very you have a guilt being a mom, I think. Whenever you want to like take time off because you're like, oh, well, she needs me. Well, yes, but at the same time, other people can take care of her. Other people have, you know, raised kids and things like that. So it's not like, you know, she's not going to be harmed by the people you leave her with because you trust them. But at the same time, you know, society scares you to leave them with anybody.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it does. And they always like, you know, you're always worried. And especially if you're harmed as a kid too, sometimes that's in the back of your head is like, you know, will that happen to my kid? So it's definitely hard sometimes.
That's really hard. And then there's also the other part of like, you do need time for yourself so you can be your best self for her. And
that's the big one.
if you're like burned out, it's like, you know, your kids they'll get the scraps of you, you know, and like taking time to
your
rest, recover.
Your mental health too needs to be a priority for you because postpartum is a thing, and you can have postpartum depression or postpartum rage, postpartum, you know,
anxiety.
Yes, up to a year after having a baby. And there's another thing called baby blues, where you're not actually postpartum depression, but like you're constantly worried about things. And like I had more baby blues than I had postpartum depression. I was constantly worried about, is the dog gonna wake her up and she's gonna cry all day? Is she gonna get a rash from the type of diapers I'm putting her in? Am I feeding her the correct amount? And you know, there's just, you start worrying about different things. And with that, you know, your mental health, sometimes you don't worry about yourself and you don't sleep. And, you know, with you not being able to sleep, you're more irritable. So, yeah, you definitely need to start to kind of take a step back and kind of make sure that you're okay. Because if you're not okay, you can't take care of her and you can't take care of your family.
Yeah.
So yes, you definitely have to take care of your mental health very much during it. And sometimes, like, even Ryan now, he asks me questions to make sure like I'm mentally okay. He tries to make sure I get enough sleep and stuff like that, and that I'm not stressing too much, because he wants me to be healthy, not just for her, but for him too. So he got another book that after 100 pregnancy is like parents handbook for the first year, and it talks about the first like full 2 chapters of like postpartum depression, how to see it in your partner, what kind of questions to ask, how can you help them to deal with it if they do have it, and things like that. So I think that's really good also to, again, research, but talk to your partner about it, because even those conversations are hard to have because you don't really know, my mind's going 25 miles an hour and I can't concentrate on one thing, and having your partner asking you, well, hey, do you need a break? I need you to go take a nap or something like that. That's helpful too.
Okay. Ryan's a big reader.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it too. That's so good.
Audiobooks.
Yeah.
He's in the car a lot for work, so audiobooks is very helpful.
That's
and especially
so smart, though.
Yeah, when you work at a desk, audiobooks are the best.
All right. So I guess we're running out of time. I could keep asking you questions all day, every day. Going back to your mindset, your intimacy mindset, whenever Audrey is away and not in the house. What about whenever you are in an intimate moment with Ryan, and Audrey is either in the room or out of the room or close by? Is there any, I don't know, strategies, is there logistics that you have had to change?
I don't want to wake her.
No.
when the baby's asleep. Yeah, quieter, definitely. If she's not in the room, sometimes I worry like, did I hear her cry? And so you're constantly thinking like, did I hear something? And so your mind's not on what you're doing. If she's in the room, then yeah, I'm like, shh, don't be so loud. Do not wake the baby. And if you hear them cry, they're like, oh, I gotta go take care of the baby. So it's like, yes, definitely has to.
Have you ever had to pause in between sex to address something?
Or we go faster. Like, okay,
hurry up.
You need to finish. She's crying. Hurry up. You got 2 seconds. Yes. Okay. Or as I've said before, like with the breastfeeding and stuff like that, sometimes if you hear your baby cry, it makes your milk drop.
Oh, funny. Okay.
So it'll give like a tingling or sometimes like a shocking feeling to your boob. So yeah, when that happens, it's like, whoa. Wait a second. I'm feeling something. We need to wait or else some other stuff's going to happen.
Okay.
So yeah. That's definitely happened a couple times.
Okay. So I really want to, because this episode's for our listeners, and especially new-time parents, people who are going through childbirth right now. What advice would you give new-time mothers? Like, what advice do you wish? Like, we went over what you wish you knew during pregnancy, but just in general, before pregnancy, during pregnancy, after giving childbirth. What's some advice that really helped you along?
I would say just in general, having advice from other people, people who've been through it, people who've gone through it, because not every pregnancy is going to be the same, and not every pregnancy with anybody's going to be the same. So talking to people about it, like, hey, did you go through this? And having that conversation with people makes you not feel alone, because I mean, it's your body, so you do kind of feel alone because you're going through it. But being able to talk to people about it, I would say, is the best. And research.
Yeah,
looking
definitely.
up stuff, talking to your doctors. I wasn't afraid to ask my doctors any questions, and my doctor was very good about, you have a question, give us a call. They have a messaging system, send us a text message. If you feel like something isn't right, you know your body, to reach out. So yeah, definitely reaching out to people and talk. Even for me, friends who haven't had kids, feeling the emotional roller coaster was good to be able to talk to them, to talk it out. Like, hey, I'm feeling really stressed. Can I just talk to you? Or, hey, I need to get out of the house. Can we go have dinner? Especially after pregnancy, me trying to get out of the house to like have my mind taken off of the house in general is nice. To go out and just have dinner with a girl, or, dinner with friends and be by myself with them. It's a mental release for me sometimes. So yeah, being able to talk to people is good.
Okay, good.
As far as because obviously what I'm getting a lot for the advice is to educate yourself, right? To do research and to talk to other people, which seems like something that Ryan was really good at doing. But speak to the new time fathers now. What are certain things that he did that weren't as supportive that maybe he corrected later after getting more education?
So at a point, whenever the roller coaster, obviously your partner kind of, okay, I know you're going through this, but sometimes they can dismiss it a little bit. Like, oh, she's just pregnant, when you're having like a full-on blown mental breakdown, and you just want to talk to somebody and they're just like, oh, it's because you're pregnant. Yes, it's because I'm pregnant, but at the same time, I need you to listen to me.
So I need you to
Take what I'm saying, not just she's pregnant, she doesn't know what she's doing or whatever, and just kind of listen to your partner.
Okay.
Be open to what they're saying. Be open that they are going through something before, during, and after. And you might not quite understand everything, but just you don't have to solve it. That's another thing is partners, male or female, on the other side, they like to solve it.
Me?
Yes. Sometimes your partner just needs you to hear them. Sometimes they just need you to listen and not try and solve everything. Like, I might be stressing out about everything about the house, but I just need to get it off my chest and I'm stressing about it. I don't need you to, well, what do you need me to do? What do you want me to fix? I don't need you to fix it. This is what I was stressing about. This is what's on my mind. I just need a wall. I just need to bounce it off of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Makes a lot of sense.
It's really good. Okay. All right. I guess I have to give you my closer question because we're running out of time. But okay, so just putting in my spiel, this is a sex positive podcast, right? And the 3 things that we know about sex positive movement is consent, consent, consent. So number 1, the biggest rule. Number 2 is very, very inclusive, all types of bodies, cultures, sexualities, all of it. Just whatever your sex, your lack of sex is, we accept you. And then the 3rd thing is sexual education. Just we preach inclusive, comprehensive sex education at all ages, right? So I'm curious, what was your sexual education both at home, like from your guardians, and your formal education at school?
At home, I would say, with being a Hispanic and being with a Hispanic family and my mom being a young parent, it wasn't talked about a lot. And when it was brought up in questions or anything, it was kind of not fully ever answered, or it was like beating around the bush. I would say that was my aspect at home. It's even talking like when I got pregnant, I was more open talking to my aunts and things like that because they were, at that time in my older years, I've been able to connect with my aunts in a different way than whenever you're younger. Like I'm more friendly with my aunts. I do see them as, my elders and stuff like that, but at the same time, I feel like I can open up to them. And with that, it was different than if I would have spoken to my mom about it. When I was younger, she would not really talk to me about it. And then at school, for me, I was introduced to it at about 5th grade. That's when they talked to you about, this is your body. It's going to go through changes and things like that. And this is a male and this is what they do, but that's it. And it kind of stops at that. And then when I got into junior high school, there's sex ed, where they teach STDs, the proper way, what you should do for safe sex, stuff like that. But at the same time, it limits it to only heterosexuality.
Of course. Yeah.
It doesn't, and there's not just that, So I wish it would kind of introduce you to, hey, yes, there's this, but there's also this where you can have safe sex in a same-sex relationship, or, if there's like, for some people who have multiple partners, there's a safe sex for this way too, So I wish it would be more open about talking about sex, not just in a heterosexual way, but in a full broadband way, because sex doesn't always have to be just heterosexual, male, female. It can be woman, woman, man, man, anyway, So it would be nice if they would open it a little bit more, even in high school, because that's when kids are going through their changes mostly, and they're curious, or they know how they are, but there's not that talk there for them to feel open to talk to anybody about it.
Yeah. I started having sex at 16. There was not one sexual education course that I attended from 16 on.
Yeah.
Interesting. as far as these courses or these classes that you did attend, what area? Was it DFW area here in the Dallas Fort Worth? Okay. Yes. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, that's all I got.
I know. Yeah. I think before we close, we want to just give you a moment to like promote yourself to our listeners and just let people know what you do and where to find you. And yeah, this is your moment to speak about you.
I do hair and I do makeup. I've done a couple weddings. I do people's hair. Usually I travel to them or I do them at my house, depending on how well I know them, to be honest. But I do travel to do hair, and you can reach me on Facebook through my direct message.
And guys, I'll give a little bit of a testimony. Her wedding hair is bomb, because we were going to have a professional other salon do it. Didn't even compare it to the work that she could do.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah.
All right, great. Well, yeah, Kat, thanks for coming on. I feel like you have a lot of great perspectives that I hadn't ever really thought about, that I'm sure our listeners can either relate to or learn from. So we appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It was an honor.
All right, awesome. Well, again, everyone, we are Sex Positivity Unfiltered. And remember to stay curious and fuck politeness.